Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my ideal Chelsea transfer window. We're seeing lots of reports at the moment. We're hearing some names of certain targets in certain positions. The good news is the consensus is this. Chelsea plan to have a busy summer targeting a striker, winger and a centre-back. I think if we are to home in on the important things. Mudryk, we made a video about him a couple of days ago. We're a left winger short. Jadon Sancho, still up in the air. He's playing well again recently. Chelsea are now obligated to buy him because of where we're going to finish in the table, but we can still pay the £5 million fine. So I do think we do need a left-sided winger that can play with his right foot. So there is options available, and we're going to go through some of the stories today, as well as taking a look at this shortlist, because this is from Sky Sports. Striker targets: Liam Delap, Ekitike, Benjamin Sesko, Jonathan David, Victor Osimhen. Wingers: Garnacho, Gittins, Nico Williams. Centre-back targets: Marc Guéhi, Dean Huijsen, and Jared Branthwaite. If I was to look at this, and I'll keep it up on the screen for you lot now, I actually think we could potentially have a very strong window if we prioritise these players accordingly. The rumours regarding Victor Osimhen at the moment. Manchester United, a lot of people have said that he's been close to signing a deal with Man United. Obviously, at this stage, nothing is really close. There's definitely behind-the-scenes conversations that will be happening. But we've also got to think with Victor Osimhen about the Saudi Arabian interest in him. I think it will be another big window this year for Saudi clubs, and Al Hilal in particular. Alexander Mitrovic might be leaving there, and they might look to replace him by bringing in Victor Osimhen. But I want to craft now. I'm going to pick one player from each of these tiers, I guess. Striker, winger, centre-back. And as much as I look at this, and again, there isn't too many older players on this list right now. And there's also a lack of potential experience with the centre-backs. But Marc Guéhi, he's obviously very experienced. But we're hearing that Chelsea are getting closer to Dean Huijsen. So if it was me, an ideal transfer window, what do I think we need the most? I think when it comes to the centre-back position, Dean Huijsen's a great player. But I do think Chelsea should be prioritising a more aggressive centre-back. I think Levi Colwill is a good ball-playing centre-half. But I ask a big question about why do we want another ball-playing centre-back when that isn't really the way that we've been playing? Is this a sign that Maresca is willing to adapt? He wants to adapt, and we want to be a bit more aggressive when we've got the ball at the back line potentially next season. We've also heard Maresca's having a big say, apparently, in some of the transfers, whether that is true or not, based on the model that these guys are running and operating at Chelsea. I don't really know. But looking at that list, Victor Osimhen is the guy. I think if he's not signed yet for Manchester United, or he's not signed yet for a Saudi club, he keeps on scoring, guys. If you keep watching Osimhen for Galatasaray right now, the amount of goals this guy scores when the ball is crossed into the box, and all Chelsea do is cross the ball into the box. Like, it blows my mind that certain people and some people are just like, nah, he's not really what Chelsea need. We need a striker that's got a box presence. We need a striker that can bully defenders. And when we look at this list of players, if this really is the shortlist, and we have seen rumours and links between Chelsea and a lot of, if not all, of the players on this list across all three of those positions, Victor Osimhen is the most complete of all of those strikers. And Napoli apparently are asking for 64 million. I don't actually think it will be that much money. Considering what Napoli have gone through with Osimhen, the story is well and truly over. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he will never play for Napoli again. And for me, he just is that complete player. Think about how many times Neto gets the ball into the box, and we've got no one to gamble on it. Do you know what I mean? And I think when you look at those list of strikers, there's still so much development that needs to happen with 4 out of the 5. Delap, Ekitike, Sesko, David. There's goals in there, that's for sure. But what you get with Victor Osimhen is not only a player that I think has always been destined for Chelsea. That's my opinion. And I know a lot of people share that opinion as well. But you get someone that can actually dominate defenders. You get someone that opposition defenses will be like, shit, we got to play against Victor Osimhen tomorrow. And that makes a huge difference, particularly When you look this season at the so-called stifling of players like Cole Palmer, if opposition defences don't have the players available to send 2 players onto him because they've got a big striker to worry about, frees up more space for Palmer. There's so many sort of like off-the-side things that are beneficial here to Chelsea going for a profile like Victor Osimhen. The winger targets, Garnacho, I just think Garnacho carries so many issues with him. I think he's got this like identity crisis of believing he's already significantly better than he actually is. I don't think he's that great of a footballer. I think he's been a bit of a menace at Man United. Showed signs of quality for sure. Jamie Gittins as well. I think we're talking about all of these players here could become great, but this is a window where I think Chelsea need to prioritise, if we can, if we've even got the choice, because if we don't have Champions League football, you could start looking down this list and seeing a few of the players drop off. I think we need to be prioritising this window specifically with ready-made players that can actually walk in and immediately make us better. Nico Williams, out of all of these, I think is a more complete player right now. And I think he would fit Chelsea so much better in terms of a kind of profile that we're looking for. And as for the centre-backs, I think Marc Guéhi and Jared Branthwaite might be actually more of what I think we need. But at the moment, we're hearing that the club are closer to signing Dean Huijsen. So for me, the ideal window out of this shortlist is Victor Osimhen, Nico Williams, and I'm going to say Marc Guéhi. I think that's what I would choose if I had the choice, right? But I think Chelsea, we've got to be in the market for Osimhen this summer, or Gyökeres. These two are the elite strikers in Europe right now. And the stories around Manchester United is that their focus is on Liam Delap. So if their focus is on Liam Delap and Liam Delap wants Man United, then we go for Osimhen. We go for Gyökeres. We get that hit at them because Arsenal, I've said this for a long time, I think Arsenal will sign one of those 2 players. I really do. Chelsea have approached Juventus for the potential signing of Kenan Yieldis. And this is where it becomes like, who do you want to believe at this point? But Kenan Yieldis, lots of you guys have been asking me to talk about him because I've not really spoken about him much here on GBFC. 32 games in Serie A this season, 6 goals, 2 assists. He's 19 years old, which immediately puts him in the bracket of players that Chelsea might be interested in. Does have himself a goal and an assist in the Champions League, outperforming his XG. Shot creating actions 112 this season. Let's take a look at the top percentile statistics here. There's nothing really major about him. He's quite aggressive. He likes to get stuck in. Good with his take-ons as well. And the defensive numbers aren't all that bad. But I don't think we're talking about a needle-moving player here. And I think this window for Chelsea, we've got the opportunity, if we can get Champions League football. It's a big if. And I recommend you check out my video where I go through all of the teams chasing it and all of their fixtures. It's on More GBFC, linked in the description. Make sure you subscribe to that channel if you enjoy the content. But I just think we need to go for needle movers. And I think we need to be looking at the best in class. And if we get Champions League football, there's no reason why we shouldn't. A lot of the players available that we've spoken about in today's video already, they're available for what I would consider to be relatively fair market prices, considering the crazy nature of some of the values of certain players these days. So let's move now. Real Madrid see Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernández as the potential heir to Toni Kroos. I think when it comes to Enzo Fernández and Chelsea, this summer, there's so much that hangs on us getting the Champions League. I think there is a lot of players that right now we might think are quite comfortable at Chelsea. There are a lot of players, I think, as fans that we are either not yet warm to, but we are seeing what we would like to warm to out of them. Enzo Fernández, for me, is one of those. I think there's been moments this season where I think I'm looking at a player that I thought we spent the money on. Do you know what I mean? It's a huge fee. And obviously there was the whole racism saga, bringing it back to last summer, which did leave a lot of people kind of like, what's going on here? But in terms of the football, Enzo and Caicedo's partnership has been growing. There were big questions. Can they play together? And I'm not surprised in the slightest that Real Madrid would look at him and think, this could be the heir to Toni Kroos. I'm not saying, when you look at what Toni Kroos has achieved in his career, it's incredible. So many trophies, so reliable, so consistent. And I think Enzo Fernández would suit playing in that Real Madrid team. I think he would be a better player for playing there. But obviously, I don't want this to happen. And I do think he loves being at Chelsea. And I can imagine him staying at least for one more season. But again, we need to flip and get this Champions League football. Otherwise, everything I've said in this video basically changes the narrative. We move into Chelsea. This is funny. This is just funny at this point. Chelsea is searching for a new national goalkeeper scout whose role it would be to inform on the recruitment of 13 to 21-year-olds with the potential to eventually play for the first team. Oh my goodness gracious me. Like, we've already got however many goalkeepers. We've already bought teenage goalkeepers. Why? Do you know what I mean? I understand that we've clearly bought a lot of keepers and we might actually be realising now, oh, sorry, none of these are good enough. We shouldn't have bought all of them. I mean, if we're not noticing that, then what the bloody hell are we doing? Our head is very much buried in the sand. Ostrich style, Neil Warnock style. You know, I mean, I know this isn't obviously the only news story of the day, which is why we've left it to the end of the video. And look, improving scouting is always going to be important. But Chelsea Football Club, we don't need more goalkeepers right now. So in terms of prioritising, I think we need to be really homing in and looking at the profiles of players that we need for the first team right now. I think Mike Penders, if we're led to believe what we're led to believe, he's the next Thibaut Courtois. And if that's the case, brilliant. Not only is he Belgian, he's very tall. He's a commanding keeper in the box. I've just noticed I've had this flipping spiky bit of hair flicking up for this whole video. You can tell I've just woken up, haven't you? But I just think we've already got goalkeepers at the club. I think Petrovic will come back next season. I think he'll get the #1 shirt. He should do at least. We're hearing at the moment that it will be between Penders or Jorgensen to go to Strasbourg to basically replace Petrovic of this season. And we'll see what those guys do there. But in terms of the future of the goalkeeping position, again, Chelsea need to lock that keeper in. You don't want to keep changing the goalie every season or bi-weekly at some points this season or by game. Do you know what I mean? We need to have some solidity and players that we can always rely on where you play your best goalkeeper in the FA Cup. I don't want to see this cup keeper, league keeper next season. If we've got a #1, play him. Do you know what I mean? Injuries for goalkeepers, touch wood, they're not as frequent as pulling a hamstring like a Malo Gusto or a Wesley Fofana or anything along those lines. So, I want Osimhen, Nico Williams, and Marc Guéhi. That's my ideal transfer window. I would love to hear this flipping hair. I'd love to hear what your ideal transfer window is in the comments down below. And tomorrow, we have got a huge game to preview. Chelsea-Everton in the Premier League. Saturday early kickoff. And you know, I love an early kickoff because where I live in the world, that means it's at a normal person reasonable time. So the stream on Saturday is going to be absolutely electric. I might even get myself a bag of fruit pastels to enjoy it with you. But anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. More GBFC linked in the description. And GBFC memberships. We're going to be going live after 6 Things We Learn. So 6 Things We Learn will get released. And then I'll be doing an extra members-only live stream after all Chelsea watch-alongs. So make sure you join the membership. Link in the description if that floats your boat and tickles your pickle. Do you know what I mean? I'll see you guys tomorrow.